are very much relevant to all of us as they are to the Jewish people. If you recall today's first reading from Ezekiel, God promises to raise the Jewish people from their graves. There is more to this story. If you look at the Palm Sunday Road, this whole area is a Jewish cemetery. Has been there for the last 3,000 years. Jewish people believe that the true Messiah, and when they say true Messiah, they're not talking about Jesus. When the true Messiah comes at the end of times, he will come to the top of Mount of Olives. He will come down Palm Sunday Road. Coincidence? He will wave his hands as he goes by the cemetery, and all these Jewish people who are in this cemetery will come back to life. Well, the truth is, the Messiah came, they never noticed him, and they are still waiting, but don't tell the church. The Messiah came. So, the story of Bethany is a beautiful story because it's a place of suffering and pain, but also it's a place of hope. It's very much like our own lives. All too often, our lives are a place of suffering, but yet our faith gives us an immense sense of hope. It's a very strange conversation. First, Jesus waits 2 days to make his way to Bethany. And then, the usual, there is Martha, and there is Mary. There is Martha, and there is Mary. Martha is the one that talks a lot, always has something to say. Mary is the one that sits quietly, and she knows a lot of things. So Martha goes out to meet Jesus, and let me tell you, was she happy with Jesus? Not at all. Martha was actually mad at Jesus. She was thinking, how could you have done this? We told you that and you waited 2 days, now he's dead. So Jesus challenges her faith, and of course she recites the formula very much like we often say, oh yeah, I believe I'm going to go to heaven. But it's such a distant idea. Do I really believe I'm going to go to heaven? And if so, how am I going to get there? These are answers that we need to see this Lenten season and upcoming Holy Week. And hope the answers will be given to us on Easter Sunday. I'm happy with Jesus. She recites those formulas, and to which Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, even though he shall die, will live. Tell that to the Jewish people at the cemetery. Tell them those who have died in sin long before us, those who never followed in the footsteps of the risen Lord. It's a beautiful and powerful conversation. But we know Jesus performed many miracles. He did so many things, and people who knew of him and who knew him realized, they even say, couldn't he who cured the blind and blah, 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 had done something about this? Everything Jesus did was always very calculated. That is the reason I'm using this laser point, and I want you to clearly see how everything he did, especially in these last days, was very much calculated in line with the old covenant to prove to the Jewish people that indeed he was the Messiah. He was the one who was to come. He was the one who will let them out of their graves and give them freedom of God's beloved children. But they didn't listen. So he eventually ends up going to the tomb of Lazarus. In Jewish tradition, those tombs were very simple. They were carved in a stone, a limestone. They were very much like an opening where the body was laid up to be anointed. Stone was rolled in by the end because that tomb needed to be recycled for someone else. So that was the plan for Lazarus, but Jesus has a different idea. It's an idea unlike any that they've ever seen before. Powerful idea. Lazarus, come out. He didn't say that to all these Jewish people. He said that to his friend Lazarus in Bethany. And Lazarus came out. But just because Lazarus came back to life doesn't mean we all have life. It's an ongoing story of humanity, of devotion and faith and commitment to God, of believing in the promises that God has made both in the Old as well as in the New Testament. We are on a beautiful Lenten journey. It leads us to the joy of Easter and hopefully realization and being assured, indeed, is the resurrection and the life, and whoever believes in him, even though he or she shall die, will live. That's what brings us in prayer today. That's what drives every effort in our lives that will continues to lead us Easter Sunday, and hopefully one day that's what it will give each and every single one of us, life in God's eternal